And streaming on crossroadstoday.com, 2 suspects were arrested in Wharton County for smuggling rifles from Houston to Mexico on U.S. Highway 59.
A Houston woman was arrested in Victoria County on drug and criminal charges.
And preparations continue as Calhoun County faces a coastal flood warning from Francine.
We'll have the latest on Francine. Francine is still off the coast of Brownsville, but it has moved about 50 miles farther to the east. That means that the track now takes it toward New Orleans, and it gives most of the Texas coast a break. No significant erosion problems with this. And how much rain will we get? We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And Victoria East football is ready to get their first win at home versus Gregory Portland. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Shawna Currie. Well, this is an alert day, so let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, as shall we say. Here is the storm. It is still a tropical storm. It did not gain into hurricane strength today, but Francine did sort of reorganize a little bit farther out into the Gulf. As a result, Texas is getting a big break. Now, as you can see, we're getting the shower bands coming around the circulation of that area of low pressure. That's why the rain's coming at us from the northeast. We're going to get shower activity on and off during the night and into tomorrow morning. None of this will be serious, although maybe 1 or 2 little isolated spots of heavier rain. But of course, the storm center, now that it's farther out from the Brownsville area, will now roll to the northeast. And the problem is still expected to be a hurricane either tonight or by tomorrow. Looks like tomorrow night, being Wednesday night, the storm should move in somewhere along the southern Louisiana coast. As far as we're concerned, we're going to get some rain, but not a lot. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
All right, well, although Francine is not expected to strike the Texas coast, it will still pass close enough for some impacts to be felt locally. Calhoun County and much of the Texas coast is under a coastal flood warning through Thursday afternoon due to large waves generated by Francine, causing flooding of coastal and nearby low-lying areas. Port Lavaca Interim City Manager Jody Weaver says that while Francine is not expected to hit the Texas coast, everyone still needs to prepare for some impacts.
So we're going to see some high tides in some of the low-lying areas in the county. In low-lying areas around the city, we'll see higher than normal levels of floodwater, and so people need to be mindful of that.
And if you live in a flood-prone area, consider relocating until the threat is over. Always remember the slogan, turn around, don't drown.
Matagorda County Monday issued a voluntary evacuation for the coastal areas of the county that includes Sargent, Matagorda, and along the Palacios waterfront. Authorities say the predicted high tides, strong winds, and higher than normal waves will cause flooding in low-lying areas. That areas where Hurricane Beryl made landfall in July. Victoria County deputies arrested a 33-year-old woman Monday. Leila Rivas Villatoro from Houston faces 4 charges, including manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance, unlawful use of a criminal instrument, and engaging in organized criminal activity. She is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $250,000 bond. Wharton County deputies stopped a vehicle last Friday on U.S. Highway 59 near Pierce. A search of the vehicle found 3 rifles and 4 magazines hidden. Authorities say the guns were being transported from the Houston area to Mexico. 21-year-old Jose Mina of Mercedes and 23-year-old Areli Martinez of FAR were arrested and charged with firearm smuggling. That's a second-degree felony. A national Democrat group says the Texas Senate race is not a top priority for them. Democrat Congressman Colin Allred is challenging incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz this November. But the Texas Tribune reports the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee has vulnerable incumbents to defend first. Democrats have a 1-seat majority with several incumbents up for re-election in otherwise red or purple states.
State Representative James Frank announces that he's running against Dade Phelan for House Speaker. Frank is the fourth Republican to challenge for the House Speaker position. In a statement, Frank said that he would work to bring better communication, member empowerment, and management of the flow of legislation if he becomes the chamber's leader. The Texas Tribune reports that, like the other challengers, he pledged to name only Republicans to leadership positions on legislative committees.
Victoria police arrested a 31-year-old man Monday. James Jewett of Victoria faces 5 charges, including manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance and burglary of a vehicle. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $53,500 bond.
Victoria College is getting a grant of more than $900,000 from the Texas Workforce Commission. The grant of $933,000 in total is in support of adult education and literacy. Funded by the U.S. Department of Education, the grants will continue educational opportunities for adult learners to improve English proficiency, earn high school equivalency, gain industry-recognized credentials, and achieve digital literacy.
Texas school districts say upgrades to the state student data reporting system could hurt their funding. The Texas Education Agency says there's time to fix problems before officially reported data is used to determine how much money districts get. The Texas Tribune reports the system used last school year. School officials say it led to thousands of errors. In some cases, hundreds of student records, from enrollment figures to the number of students in certain programs, did not show up correctly.
Well, that brings us to today's viewer poll. Do you think that upgrading Texas's student data reporting system will negatively impact school district funding? Yes, you do think it will hurt funding, or no, you don't think it will have an impact on funding. Go to our website, crossroadstoday.com/vote, to share your thoughts, and we'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 10.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Tonight's presidential debate is shaping up to be a huge moment in the race for the White House.
Also ahead, the Gulf Coast braces for the impacts from Tropical Storm Francine.
The Polaris Dawn mission lifted off early Tuesday morning from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket carried a 4-person civilian crew. The space flight is expected to be the highest any human has flown since the Apollo program. While orbiting at a lower altitude, the crew will also try to have the first ever private spacewalk. The launch had been postponed several times due to a helium issue and weather. Southwest Airlines said Tuesday that 6 directors will leave the board in November, and it plans to appoint 4 new ones. Elliott, the fund led by billionaire investor Paul Singer, has built a 10% stake in Dallas-based Southwest in recent weeks. It wants changes that will improve Southwest's financial performance and stock price. Elliott blames Southwest's management for the airline stock price dropping by more than half over 3 years.
Well, it's less than 2 hours to go until the presidential debate right here on ABC. Former President Trump will land in Philadelphia tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris arriving yesterday.
This is set to be another key moment in this race with less than 2 months to go until Election Day.
Final preparations ahead of the first presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump. One of the largest unknowns, what Harris will be like in her first ever presidential debate. This is Trump's 7th.
She needs this opportunity.
I really think this is her chance to get her message out, to get her personality out there.
We'll see how she holds her own. I wasn't super impressed with her in 2020 when she had the presidential debates and for the primary.
Harris has been mostly off the campaign trail preparing for days in Pittsburgh with mock debates. Her team even building a stage with TV lighting. Former Hillary Clinton advisor Philippe Reigns playing the role of Trump.
This is another opportunity to introduce herself, make sure that people understand who she is and what informs her values and how she wants to govern this country.
Trump's previous debate strategy has been to provoke his opponent, including in 2016 against Hillary Clinton.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Today, NBC News is reporting in a phone interview with Trump, he says it will be easier to define Harris to voters, saying you don't know what to expect, accusing Harris of changing her policies over the years. A senior Trump advisor says the former president does not do traditional debate prep.
He prefers to have those policy discussions, and he's been doing that with elected members in Congress like Matt Gaetz, with former Congress member Tulsi Gabbard and others, very similar to what he did to prepare for that first debate against Joe Biden.
The debate is 90 minutes long. There is no studio audience. Another thing to watch for tonight, how Trump and Harris interact. It will be the first time they ever talk to each other. Perry Russom, ABC News, Philadelphia.
Arizona-based company Eagle Produce is recalling more than 200 cases of whole cantaloupes over possible salmonella contamination. They were sold under the brand named Candy, K-A-N-D-Y, spelled in this case. The fruit was sold in Texas and 4 other states. State health officials in Michigan found salmonella in some cantaloupes sold in stores there. There have been no reports of illness as of late last week. A salmonella outbreak associated with cantaloupe last year killed at least 6 people. The next potential hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic season is swirling in the Gulf and tracking toward the U.S. southern coast. Tropical storm Francine is almost entering hurricane status with the landfall track that keeps shifting slightly east.
Well, as of this afternoon, the storm was just a little bit over 100 miles southwest of Louisiana, bringing with it heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and dangerous storm surge.
Harvest gets much more complicated if you get a lot of rain and wind.
And that's exactly what's heading toward the southern U.S. coast as the latest named storm, Francine, gains strength over warm Gulf waters. From Arkansas farmers hustling to collect crops early inland to long lines at some coastal area gas stations, millions are bracing for severe storm impacts. Forecast models show Francine currently making landfall near Morgan City in Louisiana sometime Wednesday afternoon, potentially as a Category 2 hurricane.
Now the Baton Rouge metro area is under the gun. Could be looking at storm surge anywhere of 6 to even 10 feet, depending on the track of the storm.
Louisiana's governor declared a state of emergency Monday and has asked FEMA to assist other mobilizing state and local emergency response agencies.
I feel very confident that all of the agencies have activated their emergency response plans and pre-positioning the assets needed.
Francine could also spawn some tornadoes in Louisiana in the days ahead, while coastal areas from Texas to Mississippi could see up to 8 inches of rain.
As we all remember, Beryl took an unexpected pathway. We must be prepared for Francine.
Hurricane Beryl slammed into Texas in July, killing 7 people there and 1 other in Louisiana. Ahead of Francine, officials are warning residents to heed evacuation orders and avoid flooded roads.
Be safe with your own life, knowing that you can control your own safety by making a decision about where you do and where you do not drive.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Mandatory and voluntary evacuations are already underway in some areas, and schools are scheduled to close across several Louisiana parishes both Wednesday and Thursday.
Now, Francine's current path will take the storm up the Mississippi River after landfall, which is currently experiencing low water levels. And what's the very latest on the path, Mac?
We have that for you, Don. As a matter of fact, we have a live picture as well. This is looking out toward Cuero, and you can see the garden variety shower activity rolling around the area. I call it garden variety because it has not been very heavy. We've only had 0.04 of an inch of rain. Our high today was only 87. Tomorrow, or tonight and tomorrow, we'll see more of this rain shower activity, and we'll talk about that and where Francine will actually make landfall coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, Francine's the big story. Last night, it ingested a little bit of dry air and it sort of wobbled around, and now the center is about 50 miles farther out into the Gulf. As a result, Texas is not going to get a big major impact from it, but Louisiana is definitely looking at the problems. Right now, it's still a tropical storm, as you can see here, with the wind speeds at 65 miles an hour. All of this will be changing overnight as the storm starts that northeastward movement. Now, because of the northeastward movement, we're getting a circulation like this. This is the backside of Francine, and you can see the shower activity that's coming into our area, developing late this afternoon. I call it garden variety because no severe storms, no big thunder. I doubt if you see any lightning, but you will get a little wet. So this will be tonight and tomorrow. And then after that, Francine's going to be making a beeline toward the southern Louisiana coast up there. Center is right off the coast from Brownsville, as you see right about there. Now, as you can see, the storm is expected to strengthen overnight to a Category 1 tomorrow, and then still as a 1 rolling across the Gulf, and then coming ashore somewhere in southern Louisiana as a Category 1. Okay, that's still 90 miles an hour, so that'll be on Wednesday night. So all of these areas, basically this is marshland, you know, it's low level, well, swampland if you want to call it that. I mean, it's very marshy. New Iberia is here, Grand Isle would be down here, Homa is in this neighborhood. It's going to go over, but the problem with that path is that New Orleans is going to get hit. This is far out into the Atlantic. There's the west coast of Africa, and you can see the two areas that have potential to develop. So let's take a look at the model. This is what's going to take the storm right on shore onto land. This would be Wednesday. Let's see what we got. 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday as it moves on shore. By Wednesday night, it's over Louisiana, rather the boot heel, and it will be over New Orleans. Now, New Orleans is probably going to see 80, 90 mile an hour winds, and they're going to get the 10, 15 inches of rain as it rolls through that area. This one's a little bit more aimed at New Orleans as opposed to southern Louisiana. And then the storm rolls up into the, into the Midwest. You can see right about here. And some people are happy, some people are sad. Some people want the rain because we are so dry up there, and some people are sad because they've got a crop in the field that they're going to have to figure out what to do, but at least they know that it is coming. So for us, we still have the coastal flood advisories. If you're down along the water's edge, I'm talking from Matagorda all the way to Palacios, all the way down to Port O'Connor, and even the Seadrift area, you're going to have, well, actually, I just checked, the tide is coming in 2.5 feet higher than normal. So if you're in low waterways, you might get cut off of water. So do be cautious if you're heading down to the water's edge. Other than that, the hurricane warnings are well east of us into the Louisiana area. And the biggest concern, of course, is going to be the storm surge that is going to affect this area. 5 to 10 feet of water, seawater, coming on shore. And that, of course, is even going to flood parts of the metropolitan New Orleans. And, of course, it goes all the way around to about Biloxi, Mississippi. So let's take a look at our forecast. We're doing a lot nicer, okay? We're going to get a few sprinkle showers, but no significant rain. Tomorrow, cloudy with a few little rain showers and fairly comfortable temperatures. And then on Wednesday in Cuero, looking for a high of 90, little bit of afternoon sun and just a few lingering showers. I call it an alert day because of that activity down along the water's edge. Otherwise, we're looking for improving conditions Wednesday night, and by Thursday, we'll get some sunny and drier weather getting up into the 90s. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Shawna.
All right. Well, luckily, we're not going to get too much of that, but you know, definitely be watching it still. Well, Max joins us now with a look at what's coming up in sports.
All right, thanks, Shawna. Huge battle between Edna and Refugio in week 3 of high school football. Preview that game in sports. All right, we're going to start our show talking about Victoria East, and they have their first home game on Friday night versus Gregory Portland at 7 p.m. Memorial Stadium. The Titans are currently 0-2 right now to begin the season. They're hoping to turn it around again under first-year head coach John Ford and quarterback Carlin Helms. And right now they're just trying to regroup heading in to week 3.
They've really jumped in this week and moved past it. Hopefully we've learned our lesson through film and the experience, and we've, like I said, we've moved past it, and we're just ready to go play our game.
It's going to have to be us staying positive, staying focused for our next game, looking forward, forgetting the past, but remembering our mistakes and fixing them and kind of turning those into kind of strengths for our team. I think that's what we'd have to do to get a win.
Both Ford and Helms are hoping to get a big-time win against Gregory Portland, and it should be a fun one to watch. Now, moving from Victoria East to Edna, where the Cowboys, they have a tough challenge Friday night versus the Refugio Bobcats. The kickoff there will be at 7 p.m. in the game. It's going to bring a lot of firepower on the offensive side. Again, Refugio, they blew out their first 2 opponents, again, winning 49-6 over Cotella and 64-7 over London. And quarterback Keelan Brown, he's been lights out for the Bobcats, along with running back Jordan King. And for Edna, they're heading in as well as 2-0. Again, they had wins over Industrial and Bay City. And quarterback Braylon Harris, he's been a factor for the Cowboys. And expecting, I think, to make some big plays for them on this Friday night. And both of these teams are going to be exciting to watch. And then brings me to ask you as the viewers, who do you think is going to win this, top battle here between both of these teams? And I looked at it coming in. Looked like, again, Edna has just edged out just for now. Looked at it, it looks like 55% for Edna, 45% for Refugio. So again, we'll see how that changes up going in to the 10 o'clock show. Now over to Cuero. They held a city council meeting again yesterday, but while at that meeting, they had an anniversary of the 1973-74 Gobbler football state championship team. Again, this was the first team for the Gobblers to win back-to-back state 3A football championships. And the Cuero football team, they're going to honor more of this team again next week. It'll be homecoming for the Gobblers, where they play Corpus Christi Miller again next Friday night. So expect big thing to happen before the game. That will be at 6 p.m. Then we're going to end the show here with the Houston Astros. They're playing again home tonight versus the Oakland Athletics. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. The Astros, they still have a 4.5 game lead over it, and they also got some big stats as well. They're first place in ERA with 3.28, and then first in opponent's batting average with everybody else, 0.209. So on the defensive end, they're just dominating for the Astros. And Spencer Arrighetti is going to keep that momentum going. He's a former Victoria General. He's hoping to keep the winning ways going tonight for the Astros. That's going to do it here in sports. Don and Shawna, back to you.
All right, Max, thank you. And we're back in a moment. A new autonomous boat is being used to search the waters of Lake Superior for a plane that disappeared decades ago. Finally tonight, the search is on for a plane that went missing in 1968 over Lake Superior in Michigan. An exploration team at Michigan Tech launched new technology to try and locate the plane. Ocean Infinity's Armada 8 is a self-driving surface vessel. The Armada 8 will start a new search for the wreckage. A 21 square mile section of the lake will be scanned and mapped using sonar. The search area was determined by past searches, meteorological records, and wave patterns. And there's the boat going all by itself all around Lake Superior to find that plane from 1968.
You know, that's a wonderful invention. You can be on your boat partying and it's driving itself.
Yeah,
I like it.
And that's probably a good idea.
Of course, well, because you're having beverages. Anyway, folks, Francine is still out there, but it's really going to give us a glancing blow. We're going to get some shower activity tonight into tomorrow, and then by tomorrow night, it's all pretty much gone as it bears down on southern Louisiana. Actually, more specifically, New Orleans is going to get a ton of rain out of this. And then after that, we get the backwash of the storm, and we're going to get some cooler, well, warmer days, but cool nights and some dry weather for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
And you'll have updates on crossroadstoday.com?
Absolutely. We are doing the website even as we speak.
All right, great. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.